Hi everyone, this is Sarah from A Paper Moment. Today I'm going to show to you how I made these bag tags using Artistry Iron-On Ink products. First, I used the Artistry Iron-On Ink Black Sublimation Stamp Pad, which I'm showing you here, and I used the Unity Stamp Co. Elegance of Hope stamp. And here is a plastic bag tag, which is available at the Artistry online store, and then some regular copy paper. You don't need any type of specialty paper, which is really awesome when using these products. Here I'm just trying to figure out what orientation I want to put the bag tag on, and then I'm just going to outline it with pencil. You can use regular pencil, and I made sure to go all around the entire blank as well as tracing inside the loophole. This will help later on when trying to line up the blank in your design for sublimation. Then I'm bringing out my stamp positioner. You can use any type of stamp positioner or acrylic block if you don't have one. But I find a stamp positioner makes it easier to align the design that you're trying to make. And here I'm just going to place it on the bottom of my traced blank and kind of line up where I want it on this tag. Now you'll see that the stamp is bigger than the blank, and that's totally fine. I don't mind that it goes outside. I find that adds more interest when making a design. And you'll see too that it really is better if you are coloring outside of the lines in order to have a more successful transfer. One tip I want to give when using rubber stamps is to find something like acetate. You can use stamp packaging. I use the top of my grip mat cover, and you can stamp on top of the acetate since it's clear to see if you have the stamp aligned where you would like it. It's an easy way to really see what you're doing, and you can always just wipe it off and try it again if you don't like where it's positioned. I found that I liked where it was and how everything looked, so I kept the stamp where it was, inked it back up, and then just pressed onto the copy paper. Also, remember when using rubber stamps to take your foam pad out of your stamp positioner, so that way it'll stamp correctly. You see that the design came out really crisp and nice. I didn't have to stamp it twice. However, if you needed to, that's the great part of having a stamp positioner. You can also batch create and do multiple designs at once with the stamp in the stamp positioner. Now I'm going to color in this image using the Artistry Iron-On Ink sublimation markers. They have both chisel tip and fine tip markers. I'm going to start off with the pastel markers, and I'm coloring this in pink for breast cancer awareness. So I'm starting with the pastel blush pink. I'll have a list of all the markers I used on screen and in the description. we finished coloring our design, it's time to start the process of sublimation. If you don't know what sublimation is, it's a chemical process in which the combination of heat and pressure allows the solid form of the design to turn into a gas and permanently integrate into your project, so it won't peel or fade as long as the blank is polyester coated. So we're going to tape our blank, which is the bag tag, to our design. I like to make a hinge to see whether or not it's lined up, and then you're going to tape on all sides to make sure that it's secure while you use either your heat press or an iron. And the heat tape is available at Artistry. It not only secures your design to your blank, but it's also heat resistant. So here I'm using a project mat. Now if you're using an at-home heat press, you don't need this part, but I'm going to be using an iron. So now it's time to build our sandwich. Here I'm cutting some protective paper. This will help protect the project mat as well as my heat source, which is an iron, from getting any of the dye ink onto the mat or the iron. So your sandwich, you'll see, starts with protective paper, your blank, the design facing the blank, which is important, and then protective paper on top. Here I'm using a home iron, and I have it set to the highest heat setting without any steam, and I held it there for 3 minutes. Now it's time to do a peak test. You'll know it's ready when you see that the colors are vibrant and everything has transferred onto your blank. Also be very careful because it'll be hot. Over here on the side, I noticed that some of the yellow was not as vibrant as the rest, so I decided to press again to make sure that the full design was transferred over. So same process, protective paper, blank, image, protective paper, and your heat source. Also be aware that irons can have steam holes in them, and then where those steam holes are, your transfer might look different. Here you can see the final transfer and how it compares to the original design. See how vibrant it is? Now we're going to do some mirror stamping. I took a sentiment from Unity Stamp Co., their Edgy line. It says, "I'm a survivor," and I put it on acrylic blot, stamped it with the Artistry black sublimation ink, and I'm pressing it onto my grip mat. You can also use a gel plate or the Artistry mirror stamp plate for this process. And I just took regular copy paper, rubbed it over the sentiment, and you'll see now it's in the mirror orientation. You have to have it in the mirror orientation for it to sublimate the correct way that it's legible. Now I'm just going over again with the fine tip marker in black. When you do mirror stamping, the image comes out lighter, so I'm just making it darker by tracing it over again with the black fine tip sublimation marker. If you find that it's bleeding a bit through copy paper, you can always use cardstock or something thicker, which holds ink better, but I just use regular copy paper. So now I'm lining up the sentiment. See how you can see it's in the correct orientation now? When we press it, it'll read correctly. And I realized that I didn't really leave myself enough paper on the edge, so I'm going to try taping it down, then realizing that's not how I want to do it. But it's not a big deal. You can also tape on the other side. You can see that's where our image was that we first sublimated. So I'm just going to tape on the back side and line it up where I want it, and then press down. Then using the heat tape, tape off the shorter ends so I can make sure it doesn't move when I press it with my iron. Make sure that you check in the Artistry website, and it'll tell you the different specifications for different heat sources for how hot and how long to press your project. So I'm making another sublimation sandwich. This is brand new protective paper. You don't want to use the same paper you already used because you have a chance of transferring unwanted ink onto your project. So I did the same thing. I just pressed for 3 minutes, and then you can see that it transferred over. Now we have a design on both sides of our bag tag, the front with the breast cancer awareness ribbon and the back with the sentiment saying I'm a survivor. Thanks everyone so much for watching my video today, and I hope you have a great day.